Here's a story from the Post-Millennial. RFK Jr. tells Joe Rogan he is concerned the CIA might assassinate him. Yo, this is crazy. They say during the interview with Joe Rogan, Kennedy said his uncle, John F. Kennedy, quote, was at war with his military and intelligence apparatus after he said he wanted to take the CIA and shatter it into 1,000 pieces and also scatter it into the wind. Who he said had lied to get him to invade Cuba. Kennedy discussed his uncle's refusal to send soldiers into Vietnam at the military-industrial complex's request. He noted that JFK was killed a month after ordering all troops out of Vietnam when he determined that 75 Americans who were killed in the country were too many. Quote, he believed that the view of Americans abroad should not be, a soldier with a gun. It should be a Peace Corps volunteer building. Wells, Kennedy said. It should be USAID helping poor people, and it should be Alliance for Progress building middle class. And that's what he did. And he started the Kennedy Milk Program to give nutrition to the poor kids all over the world. As a result of that, in Africa today, there's more statues to John Kennedy, more boulevards named after more hospitals, schools, universities, avenues, and all the major cities named after him than any other president. The podcast host asked him, what do you think happens when you get in office? Like, if you're talking about your uncle who was assassinated and you believe the intelligence agencies were part of that, what happens to you? And he replies, I got to be careful. And I'm aware of that. And I'm aware of that danger. Kennedy responded, I don't live in fear of it, at all, but I'm not stupid about it, and I take precautions. Did you think at any point in your lives we would get to the point where we would be sitting on a show like this and be like, two very prominent individuals, one who's polling highly for the next presidential election, would outright say that the intelligence agencies killed a sitting president, also his uncle?
10 years ago, I would have said, this is an impossibility. And the sad reality is that right now I'm sitting here and it's almost like there's no response to it whatsoever. It's almost become an expected kind of thing where the most extreme possible thing plays out.
I know people who were completely shocked he even entered the race for this reason. They were like, there's no way, there's too much of a target on him, which I also find to be kind of interesting. Like he says, he's interested in it. He's aware of it. He's not going to live in fear, but he is aware that coming out with these accusations and then seeking the presidency is maybe not in his best in his personal interest.
Yeah, it definitely puts a spotlight.
Wasn't there movement on the Warren Commission like 10 years ago too? There was like an unveiling of documents around this time 10 years ago or something.
They keep
like
doing
that?
stuff like that.
Like every so often, remember we were talking about last time, like every time Joe Biden screws something up, you just release a couple of documents and just let stuff out. It'll be great. Also, you should worry too, because there's a lot of streets named after Martin Luther King, and a lot of people believe that the government had a hand in that as well.
Yep. A lot of people. I don't think they do it so much anymore. I'm actually not super worried about RFK Jr. getting assassinated. I mean, I think it's a possibility. I think the powers that be have it within them. It might be something like you're going for a burger and you get mugged.
Yeah.
Oh, too bad. But typically, I think they go with character assassination because I want to make sure your message can't persist.
Well, it's far more effective. I mean, if you want to take someone out nowadays, you take them out by just erasing the person they are, just creating an entire villain around them. And they're more effective at that. I mean, you don't want to have a martyr.
Yeah. I mean, remember that the mainstream media will not acknowledge that he's a serious contender for the Democratic nomination. They refer to him consistently as a fringe candidate, and then they immediately bring up his theoretical stance as an anti-vaxxer, right? Like, they use that to tear him down as much as possible. In doing so, they don't realize that he has broad appeal. They will not acknowledge that he actually has an interesting shot. He plays an interesting role in politics right now because I think they are afraid of him. The best thing for America's left to do right now is try to get him to stop talking as fast as possible.